The LGBTQI+ community connects within the scientific field through a combination of advocacy networks, grassroots efforts and institutional support. However, these connections are not always easy or evenly distributed, so highlighting systemic barriers that still exist in many areas of academia and research is vital. So one way the LGBTQIA+ community connect is through organizations like Pride in STEAM and the 500 Queer Scientists and similar initiatives. And these platforms provide visibility, celebrate the LGBTQIA+ contributions, and also foster like a sort of solidarity among all the people who are sharing their own experiences in science. These kind of networks are very important in order to give representation and visibility to the community. So despite these efforts, unfortunately, the scientific community still faces significant challenges, such as a lack of representation of LGBTQIA+ individuals or allies or advocates of the community in leadership roles. There is also very limited data collection on demographics of this community, and there is also a continued discrimination in general, not only in the institution of science, but also outside in the everyday life. Conferences and events that openly celebrate diversity, such as STEAM Day or Diversity Days, can also play a critical role in creating spaces where individuals feel more valued, connected and represented. Yet representation gaps persist, particularly in intersectional spaces where LGBTQIA+ identities overlap with other underrepresented groups like people of color or individuals with disabilities. So a critical challenge for connection lies in institutional policies. Many institutions fail to provide adequate resources for LGBTQIA+ scientists, such as funding for affinity groups, policies that protect against discrimination, or all gender facilities. So to push this conversation forward, I would suggest three main goals that all organizations need to bring as a strategy of change. So the first one is the data collection. I know that in Europe we have the General Data Protection Regulation, and this hinders or constrains the research on demographics of the LGBTQIA+ community. However, we also need to find ways on how to collect this data in order to have evidence-based research for future interventions and to foster change. Second one is institutional funding. Even though the creation of self-organized grassroots communities is the most important thing in diversity, equity and inclusion, because people have their own ability to create their own networks, I think all networks need to have funding in order for them to collect resources and thrive in a better way. For instance, to create communication posters or flyers, to bring speakers for giving keynotes, and also to have lunch with other advocates, allies and people from their own community. So the third one, and I bring again this topic, is the leadership representation. Increasing LGBTQIA+ visibility in leadership roles is crucial to normalize these identities in the scientific community. And I would say leaders are some of the actors that we need to point out. However, this change needs to go in different levels, not only leaders, but also medium and low positions.